Hello and welcome. My name is Heroine Bob and welcome to Bob Buys, the channel I share with y'all my part-time reselling journey here in the state of Virginia. We're doing another what sold video because I have stuff I need to do, so I'm just going to share with you what sold for the week of February 21st to February 27th while I go do other stuff because I got a lot of stuff I got to get done today, and this makes it fun for me. Hopefully it makes it fun for y'all too. But we're gonna start with Poshmark first. So I sold this bundle of Columbia shirts from the estate sale that I have still so many things to list from. But I actually sold the bundle for $20 and the buyer paid for shipping. So I made, after Poshmark fees and everything else, about $8 a piece off these shirts. I went ahead and accepted the bundle. I actually made the bundle for the buyer because they had sent me an offer for $10 for each shirt, and I'm like, I'll just make you a bundle and then you only have to pay for shipping once. And they were like, this is awesome. And then they sent me a message on Instagram that says that they were super happy with their purchase, which is always nice. And the reason why I let them go for so cheap is because it is Columbia, and it is because I paid less than $1 for each one of these shirts. So I'm really happy about that, and it made me feel super good because these sold pretty much a couple days after I listed them. The next Poshmark sale is also from the same estate sale haul. This is an Eigel, like, new with tags tracks jacket. If you don't know what Eigel is an outdoor brand similar to Columbia and LL Bean, except they are primarily a European brand. Again, this person of whom I bought all this stuff from the estate sale from was retired Air Force, so I'm guessing that they just had an affinity for this brand and they just kept it when they came over here. This is really popular, just like Columbia and LL Bean is here, over there in the UK and in Europe, which is why you don't really hear people talk about it at all over here, is because it's not an American brand. It's not really big here in the States, but this still sold. And as you can see here, it sold for $24 and it's Poshmark, so the buyer paid for shipping. So I have a bunch of stuff I gotta go do, like I said. So one of those things is that I won a couple of things on an online estate sale auction, and I have to go pick them up. And when I bid on them, I didn't realize that I thought it was in Williamsburg, which is where I work, but no, it's in West Point, which is about 45 minutes away from here. So let's get driving and go pick up that stuff. So West Point, as someone who grew up in Gloucester County, was always some place you drove through. It was not a place you normally visited. West Point is named after John West, who was governor of Virginia from 1635 to 1637. He owned a large plantation which incorporated a lot of the area that is West Point now, although at that time it was called the Port Richmond West Plantation. In 1870, West Point officially became an incorporated town linked to Richmond, which is the capital of Virginia, by rail, and became a major shipping point for passenger and freight traffic. So the reason why modern West Point is a place, for me, has been known to be a place that you pass through instead of stay in, is because while the town's large paper mill that has been around since 1917 provides a ton of jobs to West Point and the area around, it also provides a strong odor that is especially powerful in the summertime. I have driven through West Point, and those large pulp piles you see there of wood chips spontaneously combust, especially in the heat of Virginia summer. I do feel like that's an oversight on my part, and I do feel like the West Point and surrounding areas do have a lot to offer, and I am interested to explore more of this area because as I got older, I realized just how many hidden gems there are in my state of Virginia. So Xbox 360, vintage tree skirt and stocking, and then a wash stand, which I still gotta go fit in my car. And this little end table. It's cute. So as you guys can see, I have picked up the items that I needed to pick up at the estate sale, and on my way to the estate sale, I passed by two things that has made me want to explore West Point a little bit more. One of those being a winery, which is actually where I'm at right now. I didn't know that there was a winery here. It's called Gauthier Vineyards, and I think I pronounced that right. I might not pronounce that right, but it's a really nice day outside, and it is absolutely beautiful area, so why the heck not? But before I go do a tasting, let's go over some eBay sales. So I sold this pair of Worthington tights. They were new in package. I paid like $1 for these, and you know, they sold for $8.87, and they went on to a new home, and I saved something else from the landfill. I didn't make a ton of money off of it, but I doubled my money, and that's all I really care about when I do reselling. This next item is something I received in a ThredUp t-shirt box. This is Sonneman Lifestyle Women's XL like mock turtleneck jersey tee. I was really surprised that this sold for my full asking price of $11.87. Sonneman, if you don't know, sold it like Kohl's, so it wouldn't have been very expensive to begin with, so I'm really happy that it's moved on to another home. That DIY t-shirt box has been much better than I had expected, so I'm really glad that Mary from the Block Vintage recommended it to me. This next item was part of my listing challenge to myself. This is a Vera Bradley Night Owl bag. Again, I'm not, as I stated when I picked this item up and was talking about it in my listing challenge, I don't necessarily recommend picking up Vera Bradley. They're like larger bags, and their backpacks can sell pretty well, especially if you look up the pattern name, because some people are trying to complete their collections. This sold for my full asking price of $16.87, so I think I paid like $3 or $4 for this, so I still made a really nice profit. And it's so small and lightweight that it's shipped first class, so pretty happy about this. So I'm really happy about that, and let's go taste some wine.
So I was really interested to find out how they were going to do wine tastings during a global pandemic, but this is how they did it. This is the red flight. You can see here is the red wine list, and they have each wine with a corresponding color and a color dot. This is my view from my socially distant table. Beautiful view, absolutely superb vineyard, and it was very busy. So this is me tasting my first red flight, and yeah, after my first sip I realized I'm in trouble. This place is good. They know their wines, and I needed to try more wines. Here's the white flight because the red was so good. Again, each wine has its own color, corresponding dot. The center one is a dessert wine, and they give you oyster crackers to cleanse your palate. This is me starting in on the white wine flight, and let me just tell you, the white wines are very easy drinking, especially on a nice warm day like it was today. Absolutely delicious. Their Riesling had the most flavor out of all of their whites, but definitely all of their white wines could be purchased for a lovely sangria. Of course, I very much enjoyed both flights, and I am pleasantly surprised by this winery.
Well, that was a delightful surprise. I was not expecting that to be as good as it was. I did two flights, as you guys saw, the reds and the whites. I will say that if you are someone who loves deep, rich, bold reds, this place is actually kind of amazing if you're here in Virginia. And if you're someone who really doesn't like wine very much and wants to get plastered, try their whites because they're definitely sangria material, or maybe the Budweiser of wine. I don't know how to say that better. I did purchase the Cabernet Sauvignon and the Riesling because out of all the whites, the Riesling was the one with the most flavor. If you ever want to experience what Virginia tastes like, buy a Norton from a Virginia vineyard. Just like North Carolina is known for muscadine wine, Norton is very much indicative of like just how Virginia is in like the mid-Atlantic region. So Just so you know. But let's get into the last 2 eBay sales, because that's what y'all are here for. You're not here for me to like just pussyfoot about. Last 2 sales for eBay. Support your local girl gang. I was actually thinking that this was going to be one of the first sales from the DIY t-shirt box, but I sold it for $11 on best offer with free shipping. It is a very plain tee. It was on a Bella Canvas tag, so that just means it's someone who is, you know, it's basically like a Teespring or a print on demand type of shirt. But it sold for $11, and again, I have made a surprising amount of money off of that DIY t-shirt box, so very happy with that sale. And then I sold this Martin Dingman braided navy belt. If you do not know, Martin Dingman is actually a really nice men's accessory brand, menswear general brand. So if you see it, don't overlook ties or belts or like accessories in general in thrift stores. I paid $3 for this, and as you guys can see, it sold for $30. So check those sections. You might be surprised at finding something pretty nice. I actually have one more stop in addition to this beautiful winery of which I have stopped at. I also saw a hole-in-the-wall thrift store. So I have to go that way to go back home anyway. I'm gonna see if it's still open. It's like 2 o'clock right now in the afternoon. So we'll see if it's still open because they're having a sale and like there's a bunch of stuff outside. So we'll see if maybe that will also be a delightful surprise.
Got to be kidding me. Do you see this? Do you see this right here? 49 cents for vintage Linux. Yeah, no, I'm taking this with me. Okay, so far I found vintage Linux, 2 mid-century modern pieces, and I am now in a shed. This is fun. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I have gone from a shed to a Quonset hut to, I think, a garage. I'm not 100% sure. But I just keep finding new places to be and adding to my basket.
Y'all, I feel like I'm stealing. I paid $16. $16 for everything I purchased there. Oh my god, look, 50 cents. 50 cents for vintage made in the USA Linux trinket box. $3. Oh my goodness, for 100% wool made in the USA with the original hat pin, like 1940s, 1950s hat. Oh my god, I'm dying. And then I got vintage like 70s Van Heusen here. I've got 2 vintage like Izod vests that are still made in the USA. I have a handful of new vintage hosiery that just smells like grandma. Like these 60s made in the USA, actually from Richmond, Virginia. Look at this packaging. 50s, new, in the bag, nylons. They are a little like aged, like it's crunchy. The plastic has gotten crunchy and these are a little like stained, but I don't care. They were like 10 cents. Again, 70s Gunston Goldcrest, made in the USA, made in Richmond, USA hosiery. Vintage Fredericks of Hollywood white thigh highs. Vintage made in the USA Victoria's Secret black thigh high. I'm just, like I said, I feel like I'm stealing. It's just $16. Also, look at this sweater. Y'all know I love funky sweaters, and this was like too amazing. Again, vintage, made in the USA. Look at this pattern! If this fits me, it is in my closet and stay in there. And then of course y'all know how I love green. Here we go, another vintage piece. This is Pandora, green knit top, like 10 out of 10 90s vibes. I am just, it was like going back in time, like what I would imagine like thrift stores in like the 80s and 90s would have been like. Oh my God, everything was so cheap. I don't need more stuff. But I just couldn't pass it up. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Ooh, I also got, like I showed you, the two vintage, like mid-century modern, like metal pieces. I also found a cording ware handle. I was like 50 cents. Yes, please. Those things sold for like $10 to $15. I cannot. Today has been amazing. I would like to thank all 1,001. I would personally love to thank all 1,141 of my subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Fun history fact for the year 1141, the First Battle of Lincoln took place during the anarchy between King Stephen of England and Robert of Gloucester. If you don't know, I grew up in Gloucester, so I thought that was interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and until then, bye. Yes, I realized my accent got a little more southern. This is what I actually sound like. I actually tried not to sound like this, so enjoy.